You are tuned in to the Monday Night Carlo Sports and Entertainment Sportscast. And now, without further ado, I give to you the one and only Carlo.
Let's go! Money owns this town. Money owns this town. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Money owns this town.
Alright everybody, welcome along to the Storage Wars special edition of Monday Night Carlo, featuring the interviews of Dan and Laura Dotson. Not together though, separately, which is very, very cool. You get to hear both sides of this tale. You get to hear Laura's side and Dan's side, which is very awesome. And also on my Twitter feeds and Facebook pages, I will be dropping the YouTube videos, so you can check those out as well. If you're not already a fan of the Facebook, you can find out information at the end of the show. But right now, brought to you by Gifted Castlemaine Norwich and exclusively for Monday Night Carlo, it is time to hear from Dan and Laura, starting first with Laura Dotson, exclusively for Monday Night Carlo.
Hi, I'm Laura Dotson from Storage Wars. Well, thank you, Monday Night Carlo in the UK, for having me. I'm just so doggone excited. I'll tell you what, I've got some wonderful questions here, and I'm going to answer them as best as I can, and then I'm going to pass the torch to Mr. Dan Dotson. All right, number one, how did you guys start off doing what you do originally, and how did you learn to speak so fast? You know, I got into the auction business because of Danny, of course. I was in the restaurant business buying restaurant equipment, saw Danny 18 years ago, fell in love, our eyes met, and it's been history ever since. I just jumped right into it, sold my restaurants, got in there, and the next thing I know, I'm clerking his auctions, keeping up with him. He got his wisdom teeth pulled, and he said to me, and I said, what? You're going to have to do these auctions for me. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to go ask your mother to do them because, you know, she's an auctioneer too. And I went to his mother, and she says, oh, no, I'm not going to do them. You're his wife. You're going to do them. I said, are you kidding me? I'm terrified. She says, welcome to the auction ring, baby. You're going to do it. And it's been a circus ever since. I'm telling you what, Danny is the best auction, ringleader right there. And I jumped in, started doing auctions, and haven't looked back. I absolutely love it. And I think I might actually talk a little bit faster than Danny. Well, let's, just saying. You will see on the season. All right, number two. How did your involvement with Storage Wars begin, and how did they contact you? Very interesting. You know, when I met him, he's a third-generation auctioneer. I wanted to see some of his videos and different clippings of what he had as an auctioneer as early back as 11 years old. He said to me, Laura, I had everything in one big black trash bag. I said, a trash bag? He said, well, I was moving, my bachelor days, and my mom mistook it as trash and put it at the curb and rubbish, and the trash truck, hauled it away. Done. I said, oh my gosh, well, there was nothing left, so I bought a little 3-chip camera, went for it, started filming. Not only were we catching some of the wonderful, Danny Dotson actions and auctioneering, these buyers, we were catching them and their crazy antics, and that's how Storage Wars happened. Brought the auction camera, eventually we bought an HD camera, into the storage facilities, got them used to it. The buyers that, like Jared and Brandy and Daryl and Dave, they liked being in front of the camera. They wanted to also promote their store, and that's what we thought we would do, promote Danny, and our legacy, and that I also was an up-and-coming auctioneer, and American Auctioneers. And we're hopefully to go global, which is just happening here with Storage Wars. And believe it or not, the news station saw our YouTubes that we put out in 2009, and the next thing we know, KCT, NBC, CBS, ABC started doing a thrift economy story. They picked it up, they loved it. Next thing I know, we're on the television in a 13-month period. Pardon me, was it 13 months? No, 18-month period. Because on the 13th month, it was about when we were ready. That's right, with Tom Beers and A&E. I'll tell you about that. 18 months, 27 different producers and networks contacted us. And so excited as that is, they were left and right coming here and there. I started getting on the internet and looking up, okay, what did they do before? Oh, no, this has failed, that's failed. Being so excited, we signed immediately with the first one, not really doing any research, and found out, you're tied up for 6 months. But in the meantime, everyone else is contacting us. As this is going on, I said, God, just please send us to Tom Beers. Who's Tom Beers? My husband says. I go, Danny, those are the shows you watch. Ice Road Truckers, Axemen, Deadliest Catch, the Manly Man shows. And he'll sit through that with me. And he says, yeah. And I go, that's Tom Beers, Original Productions. 3 weeks later, that's who shows up at the auction. Gives my husband his business card, and my husband says, yeah, He says, have you ever thought of doing a reality show? Tom Beers says to Danny. Danny says, yeah, baby, you're number 16. And he says, you're Tom Beers. My wife prayed to God for you. And that's how it happened. And believe it or not, he told them, we're in a holding pattern with another production company. He says, I'm a patient guy. And once that ran out, he signed us. We went on. We had, at the same time as A&E, in history, being connected, we're... courting us, Discovery was also. So we were in the middle of talking with both, networks, and that is how A&E jumped right in there and took, Danny and I under their arm and said, come on in. And this is how Storage Wars happened. So, it's been history ever since. And, we got every buyer on the show except Barry. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful time. Just so much fun. All right, let's see. Do you ever see anything in the locker that you guys ever fancy buying for yourselves? Yes, yes, and yes. I'm telling you what, I'm an impulsive buyer, so, something's going cheap, I just want to put my hand in the air. And, being that, I'm the auctioneer, it's not in the best interest, so I refrain from doing that. But when we have these charity auctions and I want to help it, or I want to donate, and there's a trip for Hawaii for a couple $100, my hand's in the air. And Danny goes, wait a minute, I'm only getting paid $500 for this evening or something, or I'm working for free tonight? No. So I've stopped doing that because, we do, I think, about 3,000 auctions a year, so I'd have too many things around here. If you looked around my house, I had a lot of stuff, so I don't need any more. I like the Benjamins. All right. Oh, gosh. Is the hatred between Daryl and Dave for real? Is it for real? Yes. I'm telling you what, that was the one thing I think that when Danny and I would come home at night from doing our auctions and we were thinking, we're going to put a show together. These people are contacting us. We're putting our list together. We knew this was going to happen. We had a star rating system, basically, 1 through 10, and 1 being the best, of course. We look at our list, and I'm like, I've got Daryl here and Dave, and Danny and I are looking at each other laughing. Oh, yeah, top of the list. These two hate each other. Fantastic. Oh, I say to him, there's this guy out there, Jared. Have you ever heard his wife? She's telling him, get in the car. Quit spending that money. And he goes, I know Jared. I met his wife. He goes, she's perfect. She's adorable. She's perfect. She's got that sassy mouth. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm telling you what. A&E saw a clip of all of them, and every one of them got picked. Of course, they had been courting us, and we went in and we laid it all out. And Storage Wars is a monstrous franchise, and we're just so glad that it's gone global, and we're so glad that we're in your homes, because I always knew I'd be in the UK somehow. All right. Eventually, if you invite us there, we're there. All right. Is Barry Weiss as nice as he seems on camera? Oh, my gosh. When we met Barry, instantly, the attraction of Danny and I and Barry was just simultaneous. I looked at him, he looked at me, and we were like, oh my gosh, this guy's crazy. He looks at Danny and says, what's coming out of his mouth? He goes, do you understand him, what he's saying? I go, oh, yeah. I was like immediately his interpreter, so I was his liaison to Danny. And the guy has got so much talent. He can look right in a unit and tell you, he's been around, what something's worth, a history of something. He knows so many people. He's so eclectic. He's crazy funny. He's the only guy my husband will allow me to kiss on the lips. Thank you very much. We just love Barry. Yeah, he's a funny guy, and all of his sleds he drives. Lord, he's the real thing, baby. And if you aren't getting enough of him, he's going to have his own little show, Barry Treasures. Keep your eye out for him. All right. What is the most interesting locker item you guys have ever seen? I've seen all sorts, and there's been crazy ones on the show. But one of mine, the most interesting, oh, Lord. Jeez. Oh, I've had some really crazy ones, like a Jack Kevorkian unit. I don't know if you know who he was. He was a suicide doctor for people that were terminally ill here in the United States, and he would help assist their suicide. Well, of course, that can't happen here, so they put him in prison, and they've actually made a show about him. It's all about Jack or something, I gotta get it right. Jeez, you would think I would know. And it's about Jack, I think it's something like that, and it's Jack Kevorkian. And his unit was like, you couldn't believe it. Looked like a vagabond. Either the person was living in the hospital or in the laundromat, the different items that were in there. Anyway, there was $38,500 all in $5 bills consecutive in there, and they were all inside of dishwashing and clothing, laundry boxes. There were boxes of the detergents. So when the person was throwing them out, there was money in there. So it was very, very interesting, very unusual. So that was very unusual, very interesting. What is the weirdest locker item you've ever seen come across? Will you go back out?
It's cold out there.
Okay, go over there. So what is the weirdest locker item you've ever come across? I was afraid the dogs were going to come buzzing in on me. The weirdest one, I have this locker, and it's this pirate booty. And I open it up, and there's trash everywhere, except for this pirate's booty trunk. It looks like it's come off a pirate ship, off a stage show. I mean, it doesn't even look real. Well, I'll tell you what, that was the weirdest thing ever. $1,220 bills inside, consecutive, all of them with the faces cut out of the center of the president. And you wouldn't think that they would be, legal tender, but they were, because both serial numbers were on them and the bills were still intact. So that gentleman got $24,000, and this buyer was not even able to leave me a deposit. So I insisted he cleaned it out immediately. And when he did, it was just like, oh, the best score ever. So that one was very weird, because who would be doing that? I mean, why would all the faces be cut out? The person nowhere to be found in prison. So I don't know. Think about that one. All right. What do you guys, what do you do to get up, to relax, to unwind, from work? Whereabouts do you live, etc.? We're in Southern California, and we are at 4,000 feet elevation. We almost have a quattro stagioni. That's right, 4 seasons. And we get snow. We get some crazy weather, and it gets really hot here. It's Yucaipa. And a lot of our fun is here in the city that we live in to relax and unwind. We live on a big mountain, and we enjoy getting on our quads, taking off. I enjoy, getting out the rifle, and the shotgun and stuff like that. Target shooting, we enjoy it. I have a good fun time, hitting the targets. I've learned to golf just recently, and that's been kind of fun, off the side of the mountain. And unwind by going up to our cabin, and we have a wonderful little stream that rolls by, spending it with a lot of time with our son. He's learning how to drive, and just watching him grow up. It's just really, really rewarding, and, being where we live and everything. It's kind of like a siesta all the time, All right. Here we go. What bands and music do you listen to? That's right, UK. I am a Stones girl through and through. That's right, Mick Jagger. Yeah, I thought I was going to be yours one day or someday, but you know what? I found my man. Yeah, I can't get no satisfaction because I got him under my thumb. I am, totally Rolling Stones, baby. All the way. I love the Foo Fighters also, but you give me Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Charlie Watts, you give me them, and I'm telling you what, I am a satisfied, happy girl. Happy, happy, happy. All right. What sports teams do you follow? Being that we have some professional sports athletes in our family that play professional NFL football, it would have to be the Seattle Seahawks. And his twin brother, we have Paul and Pat McQuestion, and they just won the Super Bowl, and the other brother was on the Jaguars. And right now he's currently a free agent, I believe that's what they call it. So, they've been on, I think, the Raiders and the Cowboys and so forth, and so football. And that's different from soccer, even though I did play 10 years of soccer, and which I love, and some softball and whatnot, but they're not professional. All right. And lastly, what current projects do you have? And do you have any messages for your UK fans? Yes. Current projects, with Storage Wars, we're currently in season 5. You're going to love it. We've got some really fantastic, fun, exciting events happening. You're going to be invited into our homes. You're going to see a lot more of Danny and I and the things that we do leading into the exciting work day. And we're going online, so to enjoy, the Storage Wars you see on television, we're giving an opportunity for you all folks to bid on units and do it on live and give that live online enhancement that can go nationwide, globally, worldwide, folks, and we're just really happy to be a part of it. And I have a little show in the works myself, so keep looking for me. And folks, don't forget to pay the lady, because you're ever going to see me out there with one of my own shows. And I just want to say thank you to our UK fans for being just so loving, Storage Wars, and being fans of ours, because that's what's keeping us on the air and absolutely bringing us, globally. And we're just so thankful, to the, History UK and you folks for having us there. And Monday Night Carlo, we thank you for putting us out there and spreading the word. Storage Wars, baby. And don't forget to pay the lady. Thank you. God bless.
10, 10, now 20, a little bit 20, a little bit 30, 30, 37, a half, a little bit 50, 62, and a half, a little bit 7, a little bit 87, a little bit 1. I'm 100% sure that if you tune in Monday Night Carlo, you're going to be in for a treat. And watch the Ringleader on Storage Wars, Tuesdays, 9, 8 Central on A&E.
And that was the lovely Laura Dotson. And now it is time for the Ringleader. It is time for the main man himself. It is time to pass the torch to Dan Dotson. So let's do it.
Hello, I'm Dan Dotson from Storage Wars, and we're on Tuesday nights on A&E at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central. And I've got some questions here that were given to me, and this is intended for Monday Night Carlo. Carl, thank you very much for this interview and these questions. These are great, and I'll just start going through them. First question is, how did you guys start doing what you're doing originally, and how did I learn to speak so fast? And that's, practice makes perfect, or almost perfect, with a lot of things. And I've been practicing auctioneer for 40 years. My grandfather, Sam Fancher, was an auctioneer in Arkansas. And when I was a young boy, I used to go to Arkansas every summer and stay with him and help him with farm auctions and work the cattle auctions in the back, moving the cattle around. And in 1974, I was 11 years old, and I said, Grandpa, I want to be like you, and I want to do this. And 3 weeks later, I was selling, and I saw my name in print. I heard my name on the radio along with my auctioneer grandfather, and that just always impressed me, and I always just really liked that attention. So I started practicing, and 40 years later, here I am. The numbers kind of become automatic. After an auctioneer kind of becomes seasoned, then the numbers, we don't really think about those as much as body language, how much somebody might have or might not have in their pocket, what item a particular buyer might want, which buyers we might be able to pit against other buyers to, cause a little emotional drama. How the show started was, back in 07 and 08, Laura and I were putting up YouTube videos, and we just really wanted to show our clients, hey, we're better than our competitors. Look at us here on YouTube. We used it as a media ploy, and Laura, more than me, wanted to be on TV, and she had been on a lot of game shows, and we were on a couple game shows together, and so we just started putting these auction videos one day a week, and we'd go into the unit, at the door, just kind of like the show, and we would show the competitive auction, and then, Laura thought a couple times, maybe I should just take the camera after the folks have paid the lady, and I should go video, tape what comes out of a box. And anyway, we had 3 news agencies that contacted us in 2009, ABC and NBC and KCET, and they wanted to feature our company for a thrift economy story. And since we were the only cats on YouTube and the only people they could find, then it was an easy choice to pick us. And we'd already had the cameras in our facilities for a year and a half, and some of our facilities didn't like the attention, so they wouldn't let me film at all, and other ones would let me film but not show their name. And then other operators would let me show their name and put it on my YouTube, and we had a couple thousand followers at The Auction Guy Dan on YouTube, and we've had about 1.6 million views now on the 160 or 70 videos that we put up. Laura one day woke up after we had been in contract with our second production company, and these are 6-month contracts, and we were through the second contract about 4 months or 4.5 months, and Laura, she just prayed out loud, God, please send us a Tom Beers. And 3 weeks later, a guy come up to my auction, and he said, hey man, you ever think about doing a reality show? And I was kind of burnt out on these guys because, a lot of them weren't really super honest with me, I thought. And, I kind of just swagged over to the side and pointed at him and said, yeah, you're number 16, baby, what's your name? And he hands me his card, and it was Tom Beers. And I just couldn't believe it because, I told him, I said, my wife prayed to God you'd come here, and here you are. And you're the guru, and you can turn this stuff into gold. And if you're patient, I have 45 days left in my contract. And he said, I'm very patient. And I said, well, a lot of the folks in production in this business, they seem to be liars. And he looked at me and cocked his head and he says, "Well, I'm not a liar," and he wasn't. That's kind of how it started. And Tom Beers had the idea of Storage Wars, and the concept and the name, and their magic at spinning stories and making things interesting. Who would ever thought storage was sexy? Well, it is. And Laura and I, we inspired that. We inspired Storage Wars, and we had done a little consulting with True TV and Spike TV for the other auction shows that were out there. So we were absolutely the original show, and we're the real deal. And we auction 20,000 units a year, and we've got about 500 accounts that we do a couple of hundred auctions a month, and a lot of people rely on getting their goods from us and other places and making a living. So one of the things with the show, it always kind of hurt my feelings, because a lot of the buyers they were kind of looked down at by the industry and by the owners and the operators and the regional managers, and they never saw value in these buyers, when I always saw value in the buyers. I mean, they not only were conducting a public service, but they were good people, and they were working hard, and they were feeding their families. And I just always thought they kind of got the wrong end of the stick, as far as buyers go. Vultures are picking the bones off a carcass, and that's not it at all. I mean, if there weren't good buyers out there to buy this stuff, we wouldn't get good money for it, and it would never get cleaned out, and these big multi-million-dollar facilities would just go bankrupt because nobody would be paying. And there has to be a mechanism in there to take somebody's goods when they haven't paid, and legally go through a procedure and commercially reasonable sell it. And so anyway, I hope I answered that one. That was kind of long-winded. Number 3, do you ever see anything in a locker you guys ever fancy about buying ourselves? And back in the late 80s, I used to buy units, and I was auctioning storage in '85, so it was a pretty much of a conflict of interest for an auctioneer to also want to buy goods. So we got it out of our minds a long time ago that we don't want to buy. We just want to sell. We just want to make our 20%. When people do good, we'd love to hear about it. We rarely do, but there's been so many stories over the years, and there's been so many life-changing units that have been sold. And the word comes out, and we've had a couple of them on Storage Wars. And matter of fact, this season you're going to see the highest sold unit ever on Storage Wars history, and it's probably the highest unit we've sold in the last 6 or 7 years. And one of the players on the show bought it, and I understand that it is a life-changing unit. I would say that anytime you can buy a unit and you can sell it for enough money to buy a house with, or one of the most expensive sports cars, then that's pretty life-changing to me. Okay, so I rarely want to buy anything. I don't ever see anything that I want, and Laura doesn't let me bring too much used stuff home. I hate to say it, but she likes to buy her stuff where she does, and I'm just happy enough with that. Number 4, fourth question is the hatred between Daryl and Dave for real? Yeah, everybody on the show is how they are, and it's pretty easy not to like Dave, and he doesn't make himself very likable, and Daryl just kind of, whatever is going through his mind usually comes out of his mouth, and that's why he's so funny. And the tension between Jared and Dave was absolutely, off the hook. They hated each other, and Dave's not on the show anymore. He's been gone. Season 3, I think, was his last time around, and Dave, turned out to be not only miserable to everybody, but I think he just kind of became really miserable to himself. So I think that made him very unhappy. And okay, number 5. Is Barry Weiss as nice as he seems on camera? Barry is great, and he is the same off camera as he is on camera, and he's 62 years old. He likes to say he's sexy too, and he's just he's hard to keep up with. I've done a lot of running around with Barry, and we've been to New York and Arizona in the races and Harley riding and midget race car driving. And we've done a lot of things that have been fun. And Barry's the same off camera as he's on. And he is not in season 5. And I thought, I got a man crush on Barry like everybody. And I thought, I'm really going to miss Barry. But to be honest with you, I miss him, because I don't get to see him as often as I did. But we didn't miss him. I mean, we've got some of the best buyers, most legitimate buyers, and some of the best units that we've ever had in all 5 seasons this season. And I think that everybody's going to be in for a treat. Now, I'm a Barry fan. Tuesdays, 9 o'clock and 9:30, that's Storage Wars, season 5. But then at 10 o'clock and 10:30, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock Central, is going to be Barry's new show called Buried Treasure. And Barry gets to have fun, and he doesn't have to work as hard as he did with the self-storage units. And it seems to be right up his alley. So I'm hoping him all the best out there. And that's that. And then we have... what is the most interesting locker items you guys have seen? Since 1985, I've seen everything. We've seen everything from Alberto Vargas's unit, a couple $1 million worth of stuff, to Sting and Madonna boxes. I sold 5 boxes that came out of Madonna's helpers unit. And I guess this lady was an assistant to Madonna from 86 to 93. Anyway, she had a lot of stuff in there, personal stuff of Madonna, stuff you just can't get. And so I think that stuff brought about $400,000. We've just sold everything. Jack Kevorkian's unit sold. Laura sold it, and there was like $38,500 cash in there. Sold a unit one time full of United States Air Force military helicopter titanium parts, a whole unit full of it. And the government come back and confiscated that. But, I sold a dead body one time. A lady had killed her husband. And, it's funny, you sell one dead body to somebody and you'll never get to sell them another thing. So we don't like doing that. All right. Number 7. What is the weirdest locker item that you've come across? Well, we have probably already included it in the last question, but it's just been everything. I had a unit one time, and it didn't look like anything. It looked like just paper and a small little tarp in the middle of it. And this thing was only like 5 by 8. It was very small. And as I'm selling it, I'm at like $25, looking for $35, and a guy notices. Like I had a lettuce size money, and it was just like 1s and 5s, like in a ball, wrapped up with like newspaper. Weird, right? Well, I picked that up and I split it open like I had a lettuce, and I just threw it in the unit. I mean, it was part of the sale, and then it went up to like $300 or $400. Well, then I'm looking, and there's little rolls of dollars and $5. I didn't see any 20s or 100s or 50s, but lots of 1s and 5s. And I just started kicking that stuff in with my foot back into the unit. Well, I ended up getting $1,750 for this unit, and I never found out what was in the unit. But the guy that bought it, he followed me around for at least a month. And, I heard $3,000 or $4,000. I asked him, and he said he lost a little money out of his $1,700, but you just never know. You never know what you're going to find in a unit. And you can imagine it in your imagination that it can possibly have been, or it is in a unit. And if something's being stored and it costs money to store it, then if that's not paid, then there's a chance it could come up to auction. And that's why this is such a fascinating job and such a fascinating show. You just never know what you're going to find. What do you guys get up to relax to and unwind away from work? And where do we live? Well, we live in a place called Yucaipa, California, and it's about 60 miles east of LA and about 40 miles north of Palm Springs. And, we like to ride our Harleys. We've got quads. We like to shoot. We like to drive. Laura and I have a more fun probably driving around in our truck, just driving around and looking at stuff and working on our business and stuff. So, we do a lot of barbecues here at the house, and, I got a little game room, and we enjoy the mountains. We actually have a couple of local cabins that are in the woods, and we really enjoy doing that. We're so busy we don't get a chance to do a lot of vacations, so we try to do things that are close to home that we can escape. And so Laura and I are very good at escaping, almost professional. Okay, what music bands do you listen to? I like the Foo Fighters. I like Led Zeppelin. I'm an old rocker, from the 70s and 80s, so I like that. But I like some of the new stuff too. I like Eminem, Kanye West. I like all kinds of music, but I'm a rocker. That's what I like. What sports teams do you follow? I'm a little bit of a football fan because I have a couple of cousins that play for the NFL. One of them actually, Paul McQuestion, just won the Super Bowl. Bully for him. He won it for the whole family. I told him he needs to, if he wants to sell the ring or whatever, give cousin Danny a call, but he hasn't done that yet. So yeah, probably the Seahawks. And I like the Lakers when I watch basketball. Okay, lastly, what current projects do you have, and do you have any message for UK fans? We love our UK fans, and I'm really glad that you guys are getting to experience the Storage Wars as it goes through its evolution. And there are many things that you're going to enjoy as the seasons progress. And we're very easy to get a hold of on the internet. We do our Twitter with Auction Guy Dan, and lovely Laura is Pay the Lady Laura. And on our Facebook, subscribe and like to that. It's Dan and Laura Dotson, American Auctioneers. And if you want to go to our website at AmericanAuctioneers.com, you can see all of our social links there, and you can see our extensive calendar of auctions, and we have a lot of information. We are currently putting together a live online dual process auction service for the self-storage industry, one that's inexpensive that a lot of the self-storage auctioneers can use. We kind of have a movement going here in the U.S. where several online-only self-storage auction companies, their software, they've jumped on the bandwagon from all the interest in self-storage. And so they have put these online-only auctions out there, and they're really controversial because, in my opinion, they're not commercially reasonable, and they're really not fair to the people that lost the stuff. At least here in California, when you lose your stuff at auction, if it brings more money than what you owe, then you're entitled to get that money back. So if somebody's just really down on their luck, or somebody was in charge of their stuff and they didn't pay, and you have a live auction with a live preview, just like you see on the show, you go, we open the door, you look from the door, and that gives you a lot of insight to a lot of the clues that might be or might not be inside of a unit. And with the online auctions only, all you can do is look at a photograph, and photographs don't really tell the whole story. If there was a cat involved and that cat has urine on everything, you can't see that in a photo, but you certainly want to know about it because you're not going to be able to get as much for your goods. If you think there might be heavy, not heavy equipment, but manufacturing equipment or something in the back of a unit, you can smell solvents. If you think there might be tools back there, maybe it's a landscape company, you can smell gasoline. So, there's a lot of clues that you can get from the door if you're there live. So, anyway, our live online dual auction service, we are going to present it to everybody right here this year, and you can sign up for free. And even if you just want to see what it's about and you're in the UK, you should go ahead and take a look, because you never know, we might just go global. We've got opportunities in Canada and Latin America, and Laura and I have great aspirations and big dreams, and when we think of something, we just put it out in the universe, and we just ask God to send it to us, and if he thinks we need it, then we get it. I'm a Rolling Stones fan, too. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much. Enjoy Storage Wars, and thanks for following us on Twitter and Facebook and checking out our website and following your favorite casts and your favorite bidders on Storage Wars. Thanks a lot.
And that is the wonderful Dan and Laura Dotson. And really, they are so open and honest people. Very, very nice couple, and very, very connectable. Like Dan just said, give them a follow on Twitter. Like their Facebook page. They're very, very open, very honest people, and well worth a listen to. I hope you'll agree. Also, you guys should really check out the YouTube videos. I urge you to do so. Give me a follow on Facebook. Give me a follow on Twitter at EggEttCarl, EGGETTCARL. Not only will I be dropping this podcast, but I'll also be dropping the YouTube videos exclusively for Monday Night Carlo. And that was Dan and Laura Dotson, and that wraps up the Storage Wars episode. Guests of the future include Snooker's John Virgo. If you're a wrestling fan, you really do not want to miss the exclusive interview with David Penza coming up that I did with him one-on-one. It's very, very informative, quite deep in part, and just not to be missed at all. And we also have a Rob Van Dam special hosted by a very good mate of mine, very good friend of mine, Ryan Cripps, which is not to be missed as well. And that is that, folks. What an episode it has been. What a show it has been. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And I will catch you next time right here, exclusively from Monday Night Carlo. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time. Why not come and like the official Monday Night Carlo Facebook page, facebook.com/EggEttCarl MNC. That's facebook.com/EGGETTCARL MNC.
You've been listening to Monday Night Carlo. All views and opinions expressed by the Carlo are all his own and do not represent any other entity.